Welcome to the RFL Show. I'm Emmett Swart. That's B Ford. The Bucs had the worst group of linebackers in the NFL, and it cost them their season. So today, we're going to fix that unit. Overall, the Bucs had a pretty good year. They went 10-7 and took home the NFC South title. But then in the wildcard round, Jaden Daniels carved up their defense, ending what was a promising year. That was a reoccurring problem for the Bucs all season. Quarterbacks were constantly taking advantage of the linebackers in coverage. Therefore, if the Bucs want to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders, they need to upgrade their weakest spot on defense, linebacker. So in this video, we're going to lay out our vision for a revamped linebacker room full of promising rookies and underrated vets that should have the Bucs back in Super Bowl contention instead of first-round exits.
Our first move may come as a little bit of a surprise to you, but we would draft Jihaad Campbell out of Alabama in the first round. Here's my thinking. The surefire best edge rushers will be gone by the time the Bucs are on the clock. Nick Scorton and Shamir Stewart are tweener guys that could play edge or tackle, but those guys never seem to be worth a first-round pick. They usually end up putting on a little bit of weight and being kicked inside to play tackle in the NFL. At corner, there's Javon Revel, but he's coming off a torn ACL, so there's some risk about when he will be available and what he will look like coming off that major injury. I could really keep going on with different guys that might be available for the Bucs to take here, but I'm not trying to make this video 30 minutes long. So comment with who you think they should take, and I'll respond back with what my concern was with that prospect. So Emmett, how does a guy like Campbell improve this defense in a way that no other prospect can?
Well, B, at 21, he is hyper athletic and full of raw talent. Pass coverage is where he really shines. He is instinctive in zone coverage with the ability to lock down the middle of the field, and he also excels at taking away the check down by limiting yards after the catch. As a pass rusher, he has an arsenal of pass rush moves and is quick enough to blow by tackles. Bowles will be able to line up all over the field to disrupt offenses. He checks every single box that Todd Bowles is looking for in a star linebacker. He's great in coverage, he's a sure tackler, and he's a quality pass rusher. He even racked up over 100 tackles his final year at Alabama. But then he injured his shoulder in the Relic West Bowl against Michigan, and to add to that, he still has a lot of room for development and showed some struggles in the running game. So how do we make sure he grows into the star player we know he can be, B?
Campbell can develop into a Pro Bowl player for the Bucs, but he's going to need some guidance if he ever wants to reach his ceiling. Lavonte David could be a good player to bring back. He had a solid season and will be an excellent mentor to a young guy like Jihaad. But then David is 35 years old, and I'm not sure if he even wants to keep playing at this point. He was also a liability in coverage last year, allowing the highest EPA when he was the closest defender. So I think it would be better to go in a different direction. A cheap free agent option would be former Panther Shaq Thompson. Thompson has been a star linebacker for a defense before, and he has been in Campbell's shoes of having to replace a franchise legend.
That's right, B. All the way in 2015, when Thompson was coming out of Washington, he was a hyper-athletic linebacker that was drafted to replace Panthers legend Thomas Davis. So he should be able to guide Campbell as he replaces a player of David's caliber. Thompson should also be an upgrade over Lavonte in coverage. With Thompson taking over that starting mic role from Lavonte David, Jihaad will be free to fill in as he's needed and soak up everything he can until he's ready to take over as the leader on defense. But then, Thompson is coming in on a cheap contract for a reason. He broke his fibula in 2023, just 2 games into the season. Then he tore his Achilles just 4 games into 2024. He should hopefully be ready by the time the season starts, but it'd be smart to insulate the position with another high floor player. And I have the perfect guy for that role. That would be the steal of the draft.
Emmett, if Shaq has to miss any time recovering from his torn Achilles or worse, suffers another season-ending injury, we need to have a guy ready that can step in right now. The last thing this defense needs is to rely on another guy like KJ Britt trying to lock down the middle of the field. It also doesn't help that the Bucs only have about $3 million in cap space. So that's why we are going to turn back to the NFL draft to try and shore up this linebacker room. There's a guy that will be available in the later rounds, and I'm not exaggerating here when I say that he will be the steal of the NFL draft. He led all linebackers in the country in interceptions, passer rating, and tackles, and I bet you have never heard his name before. We had to do a ton of research to find a guy like him, but that's the effort we are always trying to put into our videos. We go beyond the flashy big name guys to actually bring you an actual solution and value. So if you want to follow guys that are always willing to go that extra mile to bring you the best videos possible, then hit that subscribe button. The guy I'm talking about here, though, is Shaun Dolac out of Buffalo. I know a lot of people take PFF grades with a grain of salt, but for what it's worth, he received the highest coverage grade out of any linebacker in college football. I can't say enough good things about Shaun. He is made of the right stuff mentally that will drive him to be great. He is a hometown kid from West Seneca, New York, that walked on Buffalo's program and ended up being a 4-year starter there. He even transferred to Utah State just to experience what it was like playing somewhere else before returning to Buffalo, only after a semester, because he wanted to be an inspiration to other small town kids like himself. Dolac is the kind of guy that will start at the bottom of the depth chart, and before you know it, he's leading that defensive unit. If Thompson has to miss any time, Shaun is a perfect guy to fit in. I wouldn't even be surprised if he never gave that starting role back.
So those are the 3 moves we believe will turn the Bucs linebacking core from worst to first and should create a different outcome the next time the Bucs see a mobile quarterback in the playoffs. But then that's just our thoughts. Let us know what moves you want to see the Bucs make down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. We're the RFL Show, and we'll see you in the next video.